What's up, folks? YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, IG, Ancestrylands, ancestrylands.com. You're live with Uncle Phil. We're here for your lunch break hour. I have a special guest. My cousin CJ is in the house to join us for lunchtime, your lunch break, late lunch break. Sorry, folks. We're running a little late today. I've had a lot of rushing morning. I had to go to my kid's school. I had to doctor's appointment. Actually, get your checkup, folks. I'm going to start off with the health announcement. Get your physicals, check in with your doctor, get your labs, get your blood drawings. Men, we need to make sure we take care of ourselves and get our health checks. But first, let me welcome my guest, my cousin CJ. This is my real cousin, not black owned at black five on the black hand side, cousin CJ. How are you doing today?
What's up, Carl?
All right now.
Hey, I love that little uh intro you with the music and Ancestry Land. That was dope, boy.
All right,
That
cool,
was
man. I
dope.
appreciate it. I appreciate it.
That was dope.
The folks, the reason why we're going to cover a few things today is we got some real interesting news stories here, folks. We got issues with the Saints running back Alvin Kamara and three others indicted by the grand jury for alleged Vegas nightclub beating. Obviously, they out there, they got all the money in the world, but ain't got enough common sense, folks. In other news, too, a massive gator was spotted, a Jurassic moment was spotted in a Florida Gulf Coast, folks. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to my parents who live in Florida. Um, Hopefully, they're okay, too, as well. Also, in other news as well, we're going to get into it a little bit later. Biden signs an executive order to address racial inequality. He's putting money into HBCUs, and we're going to follow up with Coach Prime to see what he has to say about that. In other news, too, as well, in New Mexico, there's an order to delete feral cows. That's right, folks, issued by U.S. officials in New Mexico. They are going to wipe away feral cows. I don't know how a cow is feral, but apparently, if the cows are not owned by somebody in New Mexico, they will be DOA on site. That is true, folks. And actually, in other news too, as well, we're going to be discussing also shortly what you actually take home from a $200,000 salary in every state. Yesterday, folks, you might have seen my interview with Alex Coombs, and we went over inflation rates and calculated what inflation would cost you in 10 years. We're going to talk about all those six-figure high-value men, what your actual take-home pay is for all the dollars earned for the hours traded at your work, folks. Today, our main topic, and we're going to jump right into it, folks. I have my cousin CJ here by way of Virginia. My cousin and he's my actual cousin. He's here to talk with me about something that is a very hot button topic, which I don't even know why it's a hot button topic, but it's something that you need in order to be born in the world. In addition to a mother, you need a father or someone who has the ability to have all the utility components of being a father. We're going to talk about some of our different experiences. As you can see, we come from different walks of life, even though we are related. We have family. We see each other yearly, I believe, sometimes on holidays as well. And he and I talk very much so. Cousin CJ, you would tell people a little bit about yourself?
Ain't too much to tell, man. You know, hey, we here. That's all I can. We here. We black and we surviving.
Got
So,
it. Okay.
hey,
You got
ain't
the
too much to tell.
well, he's got the do rag, and everything that goes along with the all the range of what to be is black in this country, and I love it. And I love him for it, folks. The reason why I brought him on this show is because many a day we speak. I think men, not just black men, men suffer in silence. I think fatherhood is something that is not necessarily taught. Fatherhood is not something that has to be learned, and a lot of times we have to learn from our own experience, folks. And we're going to talk about the good, bad, and ugly of fatherhood, but we're going to talk about from fathers. We're going to give ourselves a voice where we can speak about our experiences being a father. um because CJ, I want to open up to you. Can we talk about, you're currently married? Yes.
Currently married.
Currently. Go ahead, you got to get a little bit closer to the camera.
Yeah, you can't hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I want to
Okay.
make sure the audience can hear you because
Oh
you
yeah.
got the southern
I got
accent
my
today.
mic right here. Yeah.
Yeah, no
Currently
worries.
married. Yes. Yes. Currently
Got
married.
it.
Currently happily married.
Currently happily married.
It's a
Mine is
difference.
I'm
It's a difference.
currently happily married.
It's a difference. It's a
All right,
big
let's give a
difference.
shout out. Applause to you and your wife. I'm
I
not
didn't
gonna.
say it was easy.
What we saying?
You smiling like it's easy. I didn't say it was easy to be currently happily married. It's,
No, I and
you know how
I
we talk, and I said I got to forget the camera. I got to
yeah,
forget everything because we talk on the phone and we laugh and joke about stuff like this. So that's how I
yeah,
want to kind of keep it, as if
got it.
we on a phone call and I'm just kind of looking at you. But
Yeah,
let's
yeah.
nothing's gonna change. I didn't say it was easy to
I
be currently happily married,
I
but
appreciate that.
that's my status as of today. It may change tomorrow,
I
but
hear you.
as of today,
Right.
I'm currently happily married. So yeah.
Okay, so let me open up. Let me ask you a question for you, and we're only going to speak in your experience. And
Mhm.
I'm using this, folks, as a period and for people to relate. As you can hear, my cousin has a southern dialect, a southern enunciation. I was raised up north, even though I spent a lot of time down south. Grew up, in summers in the south with my cousins. This is not something that, I don't go down to renew my blackness.
Yeah,
This
he
is
did. Yeah, he did. Came down here. To get a little darker, and he got a little darker when he came back. He looked like this. So I disagree.
Oh, he's talking
But
about
go
blackness
ahead.
in the tan, but I'm not talking about me being a black man thinking I'm not black, But go ahead, because this is why I love it. You're talking to someone who, he knows me, and I can't be anything else but myself. I do want to give a small shout out to Sandra, who called me last night, very interested in land, found me on Facebook. Sandra, I am the guy you spoke to last night because a lot of times, and it's not to her. I said this earlier, a lot of times people find it very hard to believe that a person such as myself, a person of color, could own so much land. That I went through the process of buying and owning land. And I understand that sometimes the apprehension or question with the person such as myself owning large amounts of land, we're not used to seeing a person of color owning land. And I get it. And my job is to educate and enlighten and to tell her, hey, I'm on live saying hello, Sandra, from last night, speaking to me. Even if I went through and shown her that I own property according to the government officials, she still was a little apprehensive, and that's okay. I'm still here today. Cousin CJ, I wanted to ask you. You were raised completely in the South. You consider yourself a Southern man, correct?
Of course.
All right, good. What are some of the dating rituals that the dating rituals that that southern men practice that are different than I'm going to chime in on the northern dating rituals from my experience as he's smoking a cigarette live on my show. Hey folks, this is what I'm talking about. I love it. That's my cousin. That's
Uh
family. Go ahead.
Dating rituals. I'm lost. There is no dating rituals here. It's I don't know. You like who you like. Go
Right.
for what you like. And sometimes what you like ain't good for you. Like it's like it's like you just gonna have to keep telling me because I love potato chips. Like
Right. Gotcha.
nah. So no, you just I don't know, man. Especially when you're young. So
Hmm.
your daddy could look at your mom could look at somebody you dating and be like, that ain't for you. And you
Hmm.
want 12 and down, it's for you.
Right.
So, dating comes with experience. You just can't. I don't think there's no ritual to it. North, south.
Yeah.
My honest personal opinion, you date and you get older, you get experience, and you get wiser. And
Right.
some of us get a little dumber and desperate. So,
Absolutely. When I say the dating rituals, I mean, in your when you grew up in the area you grew up in, and what did you see that women, from our culture, culture just being because it's very hard because, I would say being raised in the South is a different experience being raised in the North. What did you see that people in our culture from in the
what
South, what are they attracted to? What
you can
kind of
only
people are they
you
attracted?
can only see what you raised around, and that
Hmm.
comes from your mom. So my
Mm,
mom and dad was divorced. You
okay.
can't look outside the house at that age. We
Got
wasn't outside the house at that age. So
it.
if
Hmm.
you asking me, uh, what we grew up in. That's why I think our difference in opinion comes in that when you
Right.
say it's different from north to south, it isn't. We all come from broken, divorce, what society would call a broken home. So
Right.
we come from divorced uh parents.
Right.
And oftentimes we don't see nothing wrong with breaking up with someone or divorcing someone. Our
Right.
parents did it. Who wants to live unhappy anyway?
Right.
Is my
Okay.
personal opinion. So that's
That's
what me and you always, when we on the phone, this is what we differ about. No, there is no difference. It's
right.
relationships, and it's good relationships and it's bad relationships. And
Right.
coming up, you can only see the relationships that's closest to you.
Right.
You can
Fair point.
imagine and have your opinion on relationships from the outside looking in,
Hmm.
but you can only judge the relationships that you currently see. And that's why being a father, you learn later on
Right.
it being so important and about what your kids see and how they see it.
Right. What is your opinion? And I mean that's a fair point. I can respect the wisdom in that, and there's a whole lot of truth. I can't argue that point. The only thing I will say about that is that the environment is different, because in the north, I would say that it's a little bit more integrated in areas that I went to. Being integrated with different other cultures is something a little bit more. There's less segregation,
You know
or
what we call that where I'm from?
throw it up.
Growing up kind of rich.
Go. I'm saying that again. Go ahead.
Growing up kind of rich, where
Going up kind of rich.
you ain't rich, but you
Yeah.
doing a little better than most. Where you can
Okay. And
grow up, where you can walk outside and fucking see white people. Where freaking where where freaking see white people. You told me keep the cousin down. But that all goes to uh once again,
Mhm.
where your parents at in life.
Right. Right. Right.
So when you grew up, your parents were somewhere different
Right.
in life than where my parents were in life.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I got a dad now that has the opportunity to walk outside and be around white people. Where is he at? He's in Brighton,
Right.
around black people. Well, bullet
Right.
can fly through his window, and I can't seem to understand it. But that's what
Right.
we seem to be most comfortable at. But no, that's what we call it down here, cousin Phil, where you can walk outside and
Yeah.
maybe your neighbor 2 houses down around the
Right.
block is white. We
Yeah.
call that growing up with a little more than the rest of us. So
Okay.
no,
Got it.
no, you know how we laugh and joke, but
Yeah. No,
we
I get
didn't
it.
grow up like you said. You grew up integrated.
Right.
We didn't see too much of that. We knew white people. You know, we went to
Right.
school with white people. We wasn't
Right.
prejudiced. We didn't run into knowingly ran into too much
Right.
prejudice coming up.
Right.
But no, we ain't get that and maybe that would have taught us early just how prejudiced the world is if we could have walked outside and seen a neighbor 2 doors down. And
Mhm.
maybe y'all had to deal with that, and we didn't have to deal with that till we went to school.
Yeah, I mean, I think yes and no. I think that that's one of the things that I think is the difference is that when you grow up in a predominantly black neighborhood, your perception is that being around whites, you're going to have more prejudices. And I think that
It's
when I
not a
grew up in it,
perception. It's not a perception when you live that life. It's no
no,
perception.
I
It's
get it.
reality.
Right, but in the reality of growing up in that area, that's not the common culture. That's not what your experiences are. I would say that if anything, I experience the prejudices on the same level, of whenever you did interact with those people who were prejudiced against, another culture or any other culture for that matter. I've had white friends that more white friends that it wasn't even an issue. You know what I mean? They what I've learned, and I told Alex this, is that it seems like there's a prevailing culture that that whites are just bad, or they're prejudiced, or this and that. And I think it's the same for them, that there's a part of them that thinks that the same about us. And again, I think it's
Who cares what they think about us? They wasn't enslaved.
well, that's not true actually.
That's
They
very true. They wasn't enslaved. Who cares what they think about us?
All right. You're saying that whites were not enslaved in the country under chattel slavery, or you were talking about, because I mean slavery existed all over the world at
And
this
they
time.
did the enslaving all over the world.
Yeah,
Europeans,
that whites were enslaved too as well.
Europeans, Europeans did the enslaving all over the world.
All right, hold
All
on.
over the world.
So
All over the world. Basically, bottom line is we're not talking about all over the world. You know how me and you talk. I got to bring you back to the forefront.
all
We're
right.
talking about the United States, and we're
Okay, all
talking
right.
about specifically
Okay,
Virginia and
right,
New York or New
right.
Jersey,
Okay.
where you've been born and raised.
All right.
Let's
Okay.
let I don't we don't care
Okay.
how white people feel when it comes to racism.
Okay.
Black people don't care. You have no right to care.
Okay.
We
I'm
haven't
not
been
saying.
in a position to put white people to care about racism. If we want to go there, let's go there. We have been in no position
Right.
to put white people in the fear of racism. So who cares what you think? Who
No, what
cares
I
what they think about how we feel or how
okay.
we think?
All right. All
We're
right.
not in a position to fire them. We're not in a position to tell them no for a job.
Okay, but let's kind of okay. We're gonna
Nor are we in a position to really incarcerate them.
okay. All right, fair enough. Okay, but then
Okay.
if people are, and here's let me give you the argument. People gonna say, but we've had a black president, so was he not in a position to put
You
in
trying
laws? And
you trying to tell me he was in a position to enslave white people?
I'm asking a
That's
question.
real black power. No.
Well, I mean, what? Okay, so let me ask you this question: what does that accomplish if you turn the tables around and you put them through 400 or
What I said that to say this, then I care about what they think about black people overall. When you just tried to contradict me and said, "We're not trying to contradict me, we're making a topic and
right?
saying that white people could feel the same way." No, they can't.
No. I think you misunderstood. I said is that I think they're in their perception of when they are trying to interact in a society with instead of reaching out and saying, "Hey, let's be friends," or "Let me interact with them," their perception could be that they don't want anything to do with us. Is that, and that's part of the reason is that no one's sitting to willing down to sit down and talk and say, "Hey, I grew up, I came
And,
over to this country from another country. I present as being white, and you're walking by the street, and I want to say hi or hey, would you buy some cookies from me?" But I'm too concerned about the image of what I see as blacks, and I'm thinking that hey, you don't want to have this interaction with me, you don't want me to interact with you, and in your mind when you're walking by you're
and I
saying this
probably
person
and I
doesn't want to
probably
talk.
don't.
Okay, well, I mean, but how does that help? Let me ask this question: how does that help black society when you still have to go into the world and operate in the society? Because I mean,
And
again, I think
and
what you're
whose
saying.
world? And whose world
Well,
are
the
you
world we live
willing
in
to
though.
operate in? See, that's what you fail to realize. In whose world are we trying to operate in? We're trying to operate into their world.
Okay, but when you say that, I'm asking the question of okay, okay, so we're going to forget that brought over here that again if you
We
go back
won't go nowhere. See, let's not go all the way back until
okay,
we
I'm
won't.
just saying I
We
think
was
that
born right here.
right,
We haven't witnessed any slavery. We
right,
haven't
we have
seen
it,
any, but we have witnessed the mass incarceration of black men, right?
right, okay,
Correct. So
yes sir,
all this, we have been turned down for jobs by white men. This is what
right,
we have endured. I have endured myself. Okay. I had my HVAC credentials coming out of HVAC school. You think I got
mhm,
hired before the white boys?
okay.
I'm just being honest.
All right, well, listen, let me. Okay, this is, and folks, listen. I want to tell people for the show. Thanks for tuning in. This is my real cousin. This is not just cousin CJ. Things like that. We're having a real conversation,
That we'll
and
be having on the phone. That's
yeah, this is
basically what
not.
it is.
Listen, this is my cousin. I love this man. As family. So our conversation can become engaging and heated. But again, I think that the goal here is to break down the barriers of the conversation and open it up. So sometimes people can see that people don't get to hear this conversation happen. He and I have this conversation over the phone, but the world doesn't understand sometimes the way that we're viewed. And I might have a different position. And I know people out there, they're going to bring me the heat because I'm not fully on his side and where he's coming from. And that's because I was raised in a different area. But it doesn't mean that I didn't experience some of the same things as he's talking about. What I did have was more friends that were working with me, and I didn't. I experienced a minority of that, but most of the hate that I experienced was from my own people. I didn't experience that from the racism. I don't want to say racism, but the prejudices that I've experienced were from my own people because I didn't wear a do rag like you are, and I'm not singling you out. I'm just saying I didn't sag my pants. I didn't have the gold chains. I didn't have the rich watches.
Even if you had that kind of stuff, it would have just been worse because you would have had another black man trying to take it from you. So
Well, how can you say that and then you go on and tell me about the white world within our
we
own
not we
culture?
because you didn't ask me about the black world. We was
Okay,
talking about the white world.
no, fair enough. And
You feel me?
this is the
You want to talk about the white world, and then you want to talk about the black world. And I just gave it
okay.
to you raw and simple. Let's be
No,
lucky
you're
you
right.
didn't have
You're right.
those things, because it would be twice as worse. You have black man. I didn't say a white man. I said
Right.
you have black man trying to
Yes,
take
sir.
those things from you.
And that is true. And again, my question is even with that. Okay, so now we're going to get into. So we went on to the white side and how
Now
the
you want to get into why we this way.
No, I okay. Well, I mean, again, my whole thing is that we're probably going to go into blaming someone else for why we are this way. And my whole point is that, and again, I'm going to let you speak your piece because again, he
Mhm.
was raised in a he was raised in the South, folks. I was raised in the North, even though I was born in the South, left at 4 years old, and my entire time was spent up in the North. He was in the South, and there still were prejudices more heavily than there are in the North. We have people who are all over the world making policies. Kevin Saunders, thank you for chiming in, folks. And we're definitely he's got. I'm going to read his chat right here because I always want to give preference to the chat members. Kevin
Oh,
Saunders
I
says
can't
black.
see it.
You can see it.
I can't see it. What a
Yeah, I'm
chat.
going to read it out here. Black Kevin Saunders says black or white. Kevin Saunders, thank you for showing up. He says black or white. I think the solution is to end all business licensing. Starting a business should be easy. Small businesses are being crushed. What are your thoughts on that?
Small
And
business. It depends on what he's calling a small business. Are we talking about a t-shirt shop? Are we talking about what's a small business to him?
right.
Everybody's small business man is different.
Well, that's true. Obviously,
So, what are you considering a small business? A corner store?
right.
Depending on what the business is, because every business ain't a good business. You
True.
got to
But
get into a business where your business is needed.
right, a business
That's
service.
first and foremost.
Right, of course.
Not wanted. You have to get
Right.
into a business that's needed.
Right.
And like a used tire shop, I
Mhm.
would consider a small business, but it's also a business that's needed. It's a demand for that.
Right.
People always going to need used tires on their car.
Yeah, he commented. He said anything that requires a license. So let me go back and read his comment. So maybe you could comment on that. And again, folks, the reason why I have him up here is because
That's
I,
all
I
businesses.
I'm sorry.
That's all businesses.
All businesses require a license. Not for many online businesses, though. I didn't have to have a real estate license for selling vacant land because I'm the private owner. If I'm a
Mhm,
realtor acting on behalf of someone else who owns a property, then
mhm.
I would need to have a license. So you have lashes, any of the melanin market stuff I went to, I don't think all those businesses are licensed. Like the people who, and I'm not going to point out their names, but I'm just shouting them out because I've come across them. Like you're making candles. I mean, look at Hispanics. They run taquerias. I don't know. I believe brick and mortars need licenses, but what about your kind of mobile businesses that they
But
like candle shops?
what's so hard about attaining a business license? Like $100, $150.
Now, are you talking about registering as a business as an LLC, or are you talking about having actually like a real
A
estate
business.
license or
Yeah, either or.
okay,
It's just I mean, it's not much
right?
to have a business and a business license. It's not much. So if you're not willing to invest in yourself,
Mhm.
what's killing small businesses?
But hold on. All right, so let's just go back a second because my question is you said that the HVAC licenses and talking about there, is it really, is it, I mean, you grew up in an area and you're saying, are you saying that do your direct upward mobility economically is related to your oppression? I mean, is systematic and racism, or I mean, like, how is, if you grew up in a predominantly black area, how are whites affecting you in that area? And I grew up in an area that was more integrated, and I was still able to go and dominate in those areas, not just athletically but academically as well. And it's not like I'm in an area where I'm a minority, so wouldn't I have the disadvantage at that point?
Of running a business.
I, I'm
It
Kevin,
all depends on it goes back to what type of business are you running? What are you looking for out of that business?
right.
I think that handles everything depending on what type of do white people need they gonna come to you to buy t-shirts? Probably not, because they gonna know some other white guy that makes t-shirts and they're gonna support them first. Period. You can't get around that.
What you think, that's just because they're white, or you think that's
No,
because their
I
network?
think I think it's about relationships.
Okay, good. All right, so here we go. That's a fair. And
I
again,
think it's
folks.
about if I knew a white guy
Hmm.
that could make me t-shirts for my business or
Right.
shirts for my business, and then I knew a black guy
Hmm.
that could make t-shirts and shirts for my business,
Right.
right?
Right.
And say they both do equally work, and then in your mind, what are we automatically thinking though as black people? The white guy gonna make better fucking t-shirts. I mean, that's just how some people think. But me, I am going to spend my bread with the brother making the t-shirts as long as he's doing what I'm asking for. And that's a problem with a lot of black businesses too.
Hmm.
Not all of them, a lot of them. They
Yeah.
like to cut a lot of corners and do mediocre work. Not
Right.
saying that the other guys don't, but
Right.
we're not trying to have that issue. I would go to the black guy. That's me personally. But it depends on what they offering, Phil. To me.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying that, because I mean, people tend to culturally shop within their own culture. There's nothing wrong
No,
with that.
they don't tend to do that, because if that was the case, the black culture and the black businesses would be at an all-time high.
No, I'm not
We the
talking about
only
that. I'm
race
talking about
that
the other cultures. I'm talking
we're
about.
thank you. We're the only race that spends money outside the culture.
Right. Kevin Saunders. I think he and I think Kevin Saunders, thank you for joining us again today. Another day. Today is episode 6, folks, for us with Live and Uncle Phil. I appreciate all the people watching and listening. We are gaining so much traction with people on the live streams. He said, Novid. We don't use the actual word, the COVID. We call it Novid for algorithm terms. Novid mandates were enforced by threatening to end your business license. Yes, that is true. I've seen that in California as I've traveled many places. Although the movie industry and I guess realtors and it may, yeah, no, it's okay. So, no, Kevin, you're good, man. You're part of the conversation. Your questions, comments, and things like that matter. We want your input, and we ask everyone to chat. I'm going to open up Facebook too in case people are watching over there. We want this to be a great, a good conversation that's dynamic. This is not an exclusive conversation, because what we do is we build understanding. My cousin and I, we care for each other deeply, but we're worlds apart in our upbringings. And even though his father and my mother are brother and sister, and I was raised with Southern parents in the North. We lived in a Southern household. I had to say yes, sir, yes, ma'am. We cook collard greens and macaroni and cheese and this stuff like this. Why are you laughing, man? What are you laughing about? You don't think we had collard greens up there?
Yeah, because of your mama.
My dad too. Yo, my dad. I'm sorry, yo. You are not going crap on my dad. My dad made banging greens, bro. Like better than my
Hey,
mom's. And sorry, mom, but my dad made way better greens. Fried chicken, yo. I mean, now we're going into black stuff. My
hey,
dad made.
listen, he is named after his dad, so he is a daddy's boy. So what type of man sits around and talking about his dad cooks better than his mom? Look at
No,
him.
I said my dad could cook better greens than my mom. My mom and my dad had different better. They had different dishes that they cooked.
Go
That
ahead,
were way better.
daddy's boy. Go ahead.
Huh?
Go ahead, daddy's boy.
Oh, I'm sorry. A black son who admires his black father. What a hell of a thing to have, right?
Imagine his
Okay.
black father greens. I'm good. I'm good.
So you can see the southern
I don't
divide
want
here,
no
folks.
greens, Uncle Phil. I'm good on that.
Not me, my dad, Uncle Phil, his uncle. All right, man. All right, we're gonna move it along. Kevin Saunders, please never apologize, man, for voicing your opinion or chiming in and being part of the conversation. We want more people to be part of the conversation, and that's what we're looking for, folks. We want people to discuss certain things that sometimes are uncomfortable truths, uncomfortable things that we don't get to talk about. And the other thing is, I want other cultures to see the conversations that we have, because there's a range of thoughts within a black community between one African American person to the next. And he and I have this discussion, and sometimes, we get moved by each other's points. Maybe I get moved by his more than he gets moved by mine, but still the less, we're not gonna back down from that experience, that conversation. So we got kind of further off. Your journey through fatherhood. I want to talk about that. And I know we pick up people and lose people along the way. Thank you again, Ancestry Lands, where you can go and find property, ancestrylands.com, Ancestry Lands on YouTube. You guys can donate to the channel, $ Ancestry Lands, and Venmo Ancestry Lands, to support us as we bring different value in the conversation. So going back to fatherhood, okay, and what is your experiences? If you could tell us how many children you have. Yeah, I'm gonna
Jump
get
right out the
to
bag, huh?
that. So let me start with myself. I've been married to my wife for 8 years. We've been together for 10 years. My wife is Caucasian, no surprise to my cousin. And and I have three children, 8, 6, and 5 months today. Yesterday, my son is 5 months. And we've been married for 8 years, all children in there. And so my experience in fatherhood, who my cousin CJ has met my wife, talked with my wife, just got off the
All
phone.
praise due to Michelle, the married man that wears a hat like that. We salute you, Michelle.
Shots fired, folks. Shots fired. Shots
We
fired, right?
love you,
I got
girl.
the
Don't
Uncle
send them
Phil
back.
from Fresh Prince hat. That's what Uncle Phil wears. Uncle Phil.
Don't send them back, Michelle. You keep them. We love you, girl.
Yeah, of course. I see that. See that's how you do. I'm family, but they love her, and I get all the
Boy.
lashes. I get all the lashes, right? And shout out to my wife, and shout out to yours too as well. She knows we send our love from the north. So going back to fatherhood, we going right into it, man. We're 33 minutes in. We need to hit the stride running, and my kids will be off the bus in less than 2 hours from school. So I want to make sure we get to meat and potatoes. And cousin, thank you so much for joining us, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate
I
you being
thought
here.
I just fuck with you like we on the phone, cause
Yes, sir.
I ain't
Yes, sir.
tripping. I ain't tripping.
So fatherhood. You have how many children?
8.
8 children. Are we talking baby moms here? I know the answers, but I want our folks to understand.
Yeah, yes,
Okay,
quite a few. 4.
a few. So you are in what they quintessentially call the Ray Ray or the Pookie.
I'm consensually what you call the fucking deadbeat dad of all deadbeat dads when it comes to having a baby mama, no matter what you do.
Oh, so you're always wrong
And
no
when
matter
I
what.
say deadbeat, they want me dead and beat up. You feel
Wow,
me?
really?
Like, yeah, no, but all seriousness,
Yeah.
no, man. It's a hell of a journey. It's a hell of an experience. I wouldn't take back. You
Okay.
feel me?
You mind telling us what age you were when you first had your first child?
17.
17 years old. Now up
17.
north, that is
Going on
like
18.
going on 18, still 17 though.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And so again, that is, I mean, up north, that is like that is like the talk of a town when one person has a child at that age. That's rare where I was
Up
from.
north where you were.
That's
Hey,
what I said.
let's understand where Phil was up north. Because some people, when we think of up north, at least the people that I'm around, when we
Right.
think of up north, we think of Brooklyn, Brownsville.
No.
You feel me?
Yeah.
He did grow up in Newark though, y'all. So he was in Newark.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
we think of Newark, we think of Newark. He wasn't that part of Newark, all right, where he could walk outside and see
Oh,
different
I'm
shades of
sorry.
gray.
Right,
All
yeah,
right.
that
So yeah, man. Cause when people think of up north, I think of, but you always state that we was different. It's north and south, but when we think of up from down south, when we
mhm.
think of up north, at least my
Hold on.
culture of people,
No,
we
no, no,
think
hold on. We're
about
not
the
gonna let that
gritty
slide on
up
my show.
north.
You're telling me that I thought that was different every time I went down there in the summer times. My brother and I, we got told we talk white, even though I have never heard the English language being referred to in the context of color. I had a large vocabulary, and again, I'm sure, and again, people don't know this, but in Black culture, people who speak like me from people who talk like him, that's what you get told. True or not true? Come on, tell the
Uh,
truth, cuz.
I'm trying to.
Or you haven't heard other cousins refer to me in that light without dropping
Oh yeah,
names.
we laugh and joke with you about that all the time.
Joke.
Yeah.
Some people actually
Because
mean it.
because okay, nothing's wrong with the way you talk and the way you portray yourself and carry yourself. That's
Okay.
first of all,
All right, let's talk about it.
right? Because like my dad, man,
Right.
my dad is a perfect example of this. He's a college professor,
Right.
right? When you
Educated
see
black man.
him at work
Right.
doing this thing, I got to sit back in admiration, like, bruh, he was
Right.
trying to teach me this game
Mhm.
all along. It's a
Right.
game you got to play
Right.
in order to get. If you're not building your own business, you're working for.
Right. Someone else.
It ain't the fact that someone else is
Right.
the other. It's another culture.
Okay.
Okay, name a rich successful black culture that's supplying other black men with six-figure jobs a year
You're talking about in America, right?
in America.
Okay,
Not too
in
many.
America, or the context in America. No, I,
Not
I,
not
I would
not
say that.
not too many, let alone when you break it down to Virginia, not
Right.
alone when you break it down to New York. We
Hmm.
are talking about black millionaires or billionaires that can pay
Right.
other black people to make them six-figure salaries a year. It's just not
Okay,
happening.
well, hold on. What
So I
about the
said that to
Jordans, the
say
Oprah Winfrey's? What about the Robert
they're
Stewart?
not they're not employing. I said even break it down even further.
Okay.
They're not employing a mass variety of black people
Hmm.
where they're making six figures or better a year. They're
Okay,
not
let me ask you this: but why? But why should they just employ black people for employing black people safe
because
without?
I made that point to say this when we were
Okay.
talking about how you talk and how
Okay.
you present yourself.
Right.
I look at my dad, who,
Okay.
like I said, works at a college, but we
Right.
all end up working for people of a different culture and of a different race.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a certain way you have to present yourself to this race.
Okay.
Period. Bottom line. You can't go in talking this kind of way and this kind of way and expect to get the job. No. So that's what I said when my dad, we make fun of you. Yes,
Mhm.
it's funny to us, but when I see my dad and his professional
So
outfit, that's not the Uncle Will that you see at grandma's house.
I think, yeah, it sounds like he goes into like he morphs from. It's not like he does this. He goes, "Hey, yo, what up, homie?" And then he comes back like, "Hi, how are you?" It ain't that way. Your daddy don't do that. Your dad talks the same way
No,
he does when I
no,
talk to him on
no,
the phone.
no. But man, to know my dad as long as to know my dad is a goof troop like
Yeah,
myself. He's always clowning on some stuff, and to see him in business mode to me as his son,
right.
and how he incorporates himself into what he does, which makes him great.
Hold on. All right. Okay. I'm gonna let you. All right. But here's my thing. It's like you saying Chadwick Boseman when he walks in. I'm gonna use him. God rest his soul. But I'm just saying Wakanda forever. When he's talking about Wakandan technology, he's still saying the same thing like your pops. Your pops talks the same way when I've heard him on the phone and talking to me. He might be a little bit more more relaxed and a little bit more freer in his language. But again,
Mhm.
when whites are employing blacks or they're employing any culture, they
Mhm.
have to represent the other businesses that they deal with and show up in a way that the other cultures that we do need business from. Because again, you can buy within yourself, but even in African countries, they do business outside. I mean, Africa has been what selling up, allowing China to buy tons of
There you
properties.
go.
You
There
have
you
to have
go. There
commerce.
you
Well, I'm
go.
just saying, where's your shirt made at? Your shirt is
We,
made in China.
it doesn't matter.
Your Jordans are made in China.
It,
You buying Jordans, we buy Jordans all day. Jordans are made in Asia or China. You're getting your commerce, the things you buy are being made by other cultures. How can you just? I mean, so then let me ask you this question. What is the solution then? What dystopian future are you envisioning that would satisfy and equal the playing field where blacks now have no excuses. They can go out and socialize with the world and change now from being mentally, I want to say always mentally traumatized, the PSD that we suffer from, that we always have to go back and we
we
can't move
don't
forward.
suffer. We don't suffer from anything, cuz that's and I get what you're saying. It's like
Okay.
we're trying to use what happened to black people back then as an excuse for today.
Right.
No, let's talk about what led up to what we're seeing right today. In the 80s, you had crack.
Okay.
Crack hit us hard. Black
Right.
community. From there, we have crack babies, which was born in the 90s. Now
Okay.
you done broke up the whole family back. Don't forget, man, we had Black Wall Street. If we talking black, we were doing good. Who burnt up Black Wall Street?
Okay. What about the government allowing fathers to be out of the home and giving
This is
black mothers checks?
and
Because
this is
that was
why.
a choice. That
This
was
is
a
why.
choice.
This is how it's all set up. Because this is where we at with it. You can't even get a check if you got a black man in the house.
Okay, here's a fact. In the 60s, single motherhood rates were higher for whites than they were for blacks. You had the government come in and say, here, we'll give you a check. You take me
And the
out of the
what?
house.
And the what? And the what? Say that again.
60s, 70s. This is right before what you were talking about
The
with the era.
60s
These
and
are our
70s,
parents.
what was going on? White women were
They had a higher
rate of being
single
single
mother rate.
mothers
Yes, higher mother rate, single mother rates than blacks. Blacks were in the homes. Black fathers were in the homes. They were raising their children. This is
until I said what hit? What did I
that was
just
in the
say
80s.
hit us
Your
in the
parents,
80s?
our parent, hold on, whoa, because we got the same parent. We have our parents were born in the same household. Our grandparents raised our granddad raised all of the children, and grandma raised children that even
We're
weren't
talking
his in the
about
family.
black people as a whole, because you can't use that percentage of 60 or 70% of white women were raising babies alone. And what did I cut? Because you said black fathers was in the household, the 60s to 80s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Around the same time we had Black Wall Street, correct? So
Black
what
Wall Street, I
happened?
believe, was in the 1920s.
And what happened? We're black fathers still in the household up until this point. What I say happened? Crack. Another mission. Once you see that our people are able to thrive, another mission deployed by the government to bring us down. How are you missing all this? From the 80s, we have been broken. From the 80s, when crack hit, now you got crack babies. Then you got these crack babies growing up, making babies already from broken homes. They don't know no better.
So
This is where
again,
we at with it right now.
you're saying that the government came and put that in people's hands and forced them to
Correct.
get on there. Oh, it was a
Correct.
choice. It
Correct.
wasn't a choice. We had
Correct.
no responsibility in it. We were
Where
just
did they
told.
put it? Where did they put it?
How could they
The
have done that
question
if
is,
they did
you
not?
see, when they start criminalizing people, when did they start it being a real thing for them to start attacking crack and drug dealers? When the shit started hitting the white community and it started affecting their motherfucking homes. You understand? So it's bigger than that, though, Phil. When
No,
we
I'm
sit
not
down
saying
and we
that you're
want to
wrong.
talk
I'm just
about it,
saying that again,
it's
when do
bigger
we
than that.
take responsibility for the choices that we made?
We
Again,
we
and
we, we
listen,
can
I
only,
have
but
been.
I'm telling you, what I'm telling you is this: for some of these families, we're not just talking about our family in particular, because we had a granddad who made a way out of something, and we had a lot. But you got to remember, for those who didn't, What do you mean?
Yo,
They
granddad didn't
put it
even
in the black
graduate high
community.
school. He was a landowner. He owned multiple properties. He raised all his
All
children.
black people was landowners. Do you know what happened? Black people want to integrate into the city. They
Like
lost the land. We
they
wanted.
lost or
We
sold
didn't
it.
want to
Some
ride.
lost, some
We didn't
sold.
want to ride the tractors and cut the grass no more. Now
That
we
was
want to
a
be in the
choice,
cities
but that was
because
a choice.
we feel like that's the life. This is the life.
Right.
We
And
want to be with them. And
okay,
you
all right, hold
know,
on. Let's bring it down a little bit. Let me ask my question. Okay, so again, but what I'm saying, and you're right, that there was a mass migration from the South to cities like Chicago, to LA. Many
thank
of blacks went out
where
there. I
we
believe
had
they
the
had,
land, right?
yes,
Correct.
because there
We
was
were
a
the landowners.
no, I'm going to validate your point. Then I'm just going to give a little facts to it. I believe I posted in my Facebook group. There was a black family who actually was re-awarded parts of a beach out in, I believe, San Diego or LA. Forgive me for saying it. They were awarded because the city had taken it away, and the family just recently, Marcella Graves. Shout out to Marcella Graves. She's friend on Facebook. She posted it, and that's where I reposted it from. They were awarded all the acreage back and the ownership rights that the city had done through eminent domain. Yes, you are right on that. There was a mass migration for all the economic opportunities and upper mobilities to big cities all the way up in the north. You had mass migration for that.
Who
But
plan was
again,
that?
they were not forced out of those areas. They chose to go to those areas for economic opportunities. You can't go back and keep blaming whites for that. That was a choice. So you had a choice to leave and choice to stay for the reason that my parents had a
Black Wall Street burnt itself down.
I'm
See,
not talking about that. I'm talking about
we got
people.
to. You can't. You got to talk about what we had and what they took away from us. If you're saying that we can't blame them,
Okay, I'm not. I'm
we
not. I'm
can't
not.
say that we can't blame them. Yes, we can.
No, what I'm saying is this, and again, just hear me on this part. I'm not saying that you can't state what happened. I'm saying that what has now happened is that blame is inherited to people who do not have excuses. Your father was an instructor in college. He's a college professor. Did he not try to provide you with a better economic outcome than what you chose for yourself?
Got to remember this.
Oh, come
Of
on. This
course,
is
yeah. I'm gonna answer your question. Of course, he did. Where was I growing up? Where was I staying, and what was the things that I was seeing on an everyday basis? We're talking about a man that had to work himself to death. Let's not act like my dad was in my life all the time while me and Pootie was growing up. My
okay.
dad even had to apologize himself for this, and I caught
Okay.
myself doing the same thing as a father. My dad
Okay.
took well good care of us
Right.
financially.
My
We
dad
didn't
did
stay
too.
with we didn't stay with my dad though.
Okay, but that's a
So
difference.
we stayed with my mom.
Right.
We was downtown in the city. We
Well,
had
let
to
me ask this
walk.
question, and again, let me ask you this question about what did your mom, and again, shout out to your mom and your dad. I love you guys. We're not here to bring you down. We're just talking about the story and a light and bringing some light onto our experiences and how they differ in the conversation of, you know,
But you asked me if my dad tried to, offered me
right.
opportunity. But you have to remember this.
Well, what's the answer? Yes or no to that
I
question?
answered that question is yes.
Okay,
But
yes.
what's more if remember we talked on the phone the
Yes,
other
sir.
day, and me and my little brother had the same conversation.
Hmm.
What's more influential? A
Right.
man who's getting you 20% of the time and a woman who has you 85% of the time in your life?
Right.
Who can be more influential? So to answer your question,
Yeah.
yes, of course, my dad had tried to install these things in me. I
Yeah.
didn't understand nothing my dad was saying until I was almost 30 years old.
Okay. No, I listen. I
So,
can't. I can't disagree. I
and the
can tell
same
you.
thing goes for our kids, our sons. You don't think that I tried to install the same thing in my sons that
Mhm.
my dad, you ain't got to bump your head and make these mistakes,
Right.
right? So
Yeah.
the answer is yes, but to answer your question, when you keep saying we can't put the blame here and there, no,
Right.
we're not blaming nobody, but everybody's situation and circumstances is different, and so is their view on life.
True.
That's what it's all about when it comes down to it. Not that you blaming nobody and pointing at nobody.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
view on life is going to be different, bruh.
No, I agree with you, but let me ask you this then: why would your mom again and again? I don't want to go down to Virginia and get clapped over asking simple questions. Please, everybody understand this that we're trying to forward a conversation, and well, you got to get through it. I think one of the bigger problems that our parents and stuff like that they don't have these conversations. You can never talk about this stuff. This is burying this that
I
happens.
think you can. We just ain't mature enough to handle the conversation.
Well,
You,
you know,
you
it's
got
not.
heart, you got hearts and emotions involved,
Yeah, that's true.
and
That's true.
it's
Yeah.
just a conversation that just
Yeah. And again, for folks
comfortable with some
tuning
people.
in, this is my cousin CJ. He's up here. We're talking about, perceptions from me living in the northeast, growing up in the northeast, although, I was born in the south, and him being truly in the south
Hmm.
the whole time, and our different experiences and where we align. Folks, this is not a combative conversation. I don't want people thinking this out. This is my cousin for real. We're blood related. We have different experiences, and um, this is what you see happens. It happens naturally within our own community, and there's a difference of, like you said, perception based upon your life experiences. But one of the things I wanted
Yeah.
to ask is that, yeah, you said, what did you say earlier? You said there's a difference between a man who has his son or children 20% of the time versus. Let me let you say it because I think it was profound.
And a woman has them 80% of the time. The influence on that child is going to be way different.
Have you seen that experience with your own children?
I experienced that myself personally growing up, and my kids that by the women that I've chosen that had kids by,
Now, how many?
my kids have
Let me get some quick fire questions so people kind of know the context that we're going in. Is that how many baby mamas do you have, excluding your wife, because you're married to her now, that would
mm,
not be qualified as a baby mama? And again, I see a lot of content creators talking about this, but I don't see anyone having. It's always people talking about pookies and reggae's and thugs and things like this, but no one's actually having the conversation with the person that's not wearing a hat like mine that he's joking on, not wearing a do-rag, but we still are supposed to be a culture. For all the people out there that question about whether I'm black enough or not, or I'm not black enough, or I am white enough, or I'm not white
definitely ain't black enough, and
enough. Okay, got
definitely ain't white enough.
it. Oh, only your family can tell you this, I guess. All right, yeah, I'm not either. And I can only be me. There's nothing wrong with that. But the thing I was saying about that is that no one's bringing anyone else to the table. We only hear one side, and it's always the controversy. What I'm showing you now is
And
the
what I
conversation.
and what was the conversation we just had uh, about my situation and children? I chose these women. So
Well,
at
hold
the
on.
end of the
Let me
day,
ask you,
that's what responsibility
how many
come
baby
in at.
moms do you have?
4.
Four baby moms. You have eight
Mhm,
children.
mhm,
8 children with four. You have 8 children total, so you have 7 children with four baby mamas. I mean,
mhm.
as far as like, I'm going to say this: the Pookie and Ray Ray category, do the qualifications meet in all of what is black culture that people talk about? That is an absolutely what you call the Pookie and Ray Ray. Now, again, let me ask you a question. I know you chose them, but men have access and control to relationship. Women have access and control to the sexual interaction that happens between men and women. Why would these women choose you? What was the allure that they chose
Oh,
you? I get that you chose them, but
we
why
was
did
in
they choose you when you were already at 17 years old, had a child, you're a child yourself? Why would black women continuously choose you over a person like me who's not black enough and not white enough?
no, I didn't. I wouldn't say they wouldn't choose you.
No, I'm just throwing that in there. I'm adding sauce
Yeah,
on
I wouldn't say they wouldn't choose you. Because we're kids having kids. What more is that the honestly say about that? When you get older and you think about it, like it was
Right.
irresponsible. Like you feel what I'm saying? Like I was in a relationship
Okay.
with no, let me take that back.
Yo, hold on one
Kids,
second. I gotta
kids
drop.
having kids.
I gotta drop. I gotta drop a soundbite in there. Hold on.
Definitely kids having kids. Definitely.
serious?
Yeah, definitely. Well, yeah, all that comes with yeah, man. Just
But again, why would they? I get kids having kids, but kids have an attraction to something that they find, like. Let me just give you an example. Growing up north, the big thing was the you had the '90s R&B, right? Because we were kids in the '90s, really
mhm.
born in the '80s, grew up in the '90s. But the draw was the Jodeci, the Thug, all my life. But the Thug R&B to the Thug baggy Tim boots. I don't know if y'all did Tim boots down there, but we did them up north, and it was everything. Sag your pants, gold chain, gold tooth. My sister, shout out to my
That's
sister.
called culture, Phil.
But there was not just that culture because you had Will Smith and the other side of the culture that was not going for that. Will
And
Smith was into
look
what?
at all Fresh Prince.
I'm talking about young Will Smith, not slap you in the face, Chris Rock Will Smith.
Yeah, look
Younger.
at all Fresh Prince episodes. Tell me what he had on his feet.
Okay, what about Carlton though? Was he not black or
And Carlton is a firm description of what you're looking at right now, Uncle Phil.
so I'm the Carl? But that's what I'm saying.
You feel me?
Is that not divisive? Why is that
That's
not at
not
least one
divisive.
of ours?
That's how he was brought up. They the
Right,
type of schools he went to and the type
right,
of people he hung around. That's what the Fresh Prince show really is all about.
right,
It's showing you the difference in the outcome of the man
right.
compared to his surroundings.
Well, with the father or father figure involved too, as well.
You still have we sending our kids off to school every day.
True.
Who do they learn most of their what movies to watch, what video games to play from their
Mhm.
peers? You
Right,
think we sitting back saying, you need to buy Roblox? You need to get Roblox points?
right.
So
And this is no shot.
it always goes back to cause like no bullshitting, bro.
Right.
The environment, bro. I
Okay.
seen it within my own son that
Right.
I'm raising the last of the Mohegans right now. When he transitioned
Shout out to
from
Jay. Yeah.
downtown Portsmouth to where
Right.
we are right now, totally different kid.
And let me ask you this question, okay? And again, let tell you folks, this show is not to promote any hate or harm. This show is not to promote violence. We're not doing that. We're simply having a discussion that I
Yes,
don't
it is
hear
because we
the
fight every time he come down here to
oh,
Virginia. So no,
no,
I'm
we
just
don't.
playing,
We
y'all.
come over to your place and we talk and you break knowledge. And I'll go through some of
And
our
he won't
earlier.
smoke no J's with me, so
No,
I
I
stay
can't. I'm
alone.
sorry. That's not
Exactly.
in there. As a nurse, I cannot be a person to consume anything, stuff like that. And thank you for,
It's
you know.
legal in Virginia, y'all.
All right, okay. Moving along now. Here we go. We'll be right back again. What I was going to say is that with the four baby moms, they chose you, you chose them, you made choices. What, other than being young, what are the other breakdowns that you've had along the way with the relationships? And here's the other question I think our listeners are going to ask: why not use protection? Why is protection not something that you decided to use maybe after the second kid? I mean, you went all the way up to 8. So
Mhm.
obviously, it wasn't like when you got to 7, you just found out the
Mindset. That's all on mindset.
mindset. Okay.
I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to be.
Now, what about the guidance from your father at this time, though?
You don't
I,
think
I
my
want to go
you
back
don't
to
think,
kid two. Kid two.
you don't think my dad wanted to get me to have no, it jumped from kid one to kid three. I had a set of twins.
Woo!
That's where the twins came in at. So it went
Wow.
from one to three. And
Wow.
my daddy was immediately talking vasectomy. You feel me? Listen, man, the relationship me and my daddy got now, that's my dude.
Right. It's
That's
like
my dude.
yeah.
That's my dude. I was so defiant
Okay.
and wanting to, yeah, I hear you. You
Right.
feel me? I
Yeah.
had to listen to you for 18 years. Now I don't have to. So the
Okay.
advice my daddy was giving me, bro, I never took.
Wow.
I never took. You feel me? So
Yeah.
I didn't understand nothing. I just told you I didn't understand nothing my daddy told me until I was almost 30.
Now, folks, just to give you all a little bit of history too, as well. My parents have gotten back together. They were divorced at the time that I was 11 years old. I was with my mother for a short duration of time, and then I was primarily raised by my father for about 4 years. So I grew up with a single dad who had me 100% of the time. In my early teens, all the way up to about 16, where my parents reconciled, and that well, they reconciled to where they are together currently in present day. So I know what it's. I would say that maybe, and again, I don't want to say this like as a better, but the experience was I grew up with the dad who had me 100% of the time, growing up with my dad 100% of the time, and then you're growing up with your dad 20% of the time in there. And you think that that had a direct correlation to his ability to actually mentor you in your younger years, where my dad was like, listen, man, he was like, look, he wasn't going to tolerate disrespect. He's going to put paws on me, which he did. I was working out, I thought I had some muscles. You remember I come down there and I was all Jules and I was in there swell up. I remember one time we was in the car with you, teenage years, and one of our cousins, Bra, shout out to Bra, he was in the middle seat, smaller, and we were sitting in there, shoulders, everything. We had him in the middle. And he's like, man, y'all too big, man. Get up. We were smushing. It was like little man in the middle. But all love, man. Shout out to him. We hope he's doing safe. But did that play a role? The lack of your father being in the home, being able to direct, guide, and form you into, where you were like, I ain't got to listen to you now,
Of
even more
course it
because
did.
I'm out.
Of course it did, but it felt normal.
Oh,
My mom was so strong,
right.
it felt normal. I ain't
Okay.
gonna like my dad just what like I told you, my dad was there, but what do
Right.
you consider there
Right.
when the influence is different?
Okay. Got
You
it.
feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of places my mom dropped me off at, maybe my dad wouldn't have dropped me off there. Maybe a lot of places my dad would have dropped me off at, my mom wouldn't have dropped me off there.
Got it.
You feel me? It's
Yeah.
all about where you living at.
Right. So,
And not only the parents, it's the friends too, man. You learn a lot just from going to school, bro. Like keep it a
right.
buck. Like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you going to school at? And this is a true quote that I rang true to this day. I heard it from a old head when I was living in Chesapeake.
Mm-hmm.
He said,
Chesapeake, Virginia.
"Show Chesapeake, yep. Show me your friends. I can tell you your future."
Wow.
And listen, and what he was basically saying is, show me where you stay at, and I can tell you just about,
Your outcome.
what
Yeah.
your vision is. Not really your outcome, because it don't predict your outcome. It's just
Right.
the mindset that you're in at the current time and where you are in life.
Right. No, I get it.
So if I can go out down the street and play basketball and get in a fight, and then I can live up here, play basketball every day, and ain't nobody telling me I'm putting hands on nobody. My mindset of the basketball game is different.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. Why, today we have the concept of co-parenting, you having baby moms, you have children that obviously you have to. I love how he laughs because I'm gonna ask the not black enough, but the not white enough questions, folks. So as he says, and so co-parenting, were your parents trying to co-parent? And again, I
My
would even
parent,
go,
my parents co-parented well.
all
I
right,
have no excuse about my upbringing.
but
It seemed
why did
my
this happen?
daddy worked himself to death. So did my mama.
Okay,
That's all part of. That's what I'm saying. That's all part of not staying together.
right,
That's just reality.
right.
Even if he could have had me 50% of the time and she got me 50% of the time, it it's not going to turn out the way it's supposed to turn out.
Right.
It
Why,
has
why
to.
is why is 50-50 not workable?
It's just, listen, man. I'm not saying it's not workable. What I'm saying is to have an impact on a child the way a father needs to have an impact on a son. You have
Mm,
to be, I feel like
of
you
course.
have to be there
Right.
at least 80, 75 to 80% of the time. That's my personal opinion.
No, no, and that's all we're
Of
asking.
raising
Yeah.
a black son, you gotta stay on his ass.
Right. Okay.
You
And
feel me?
do you feel the same would work for if a father had, if the roles were reversed, would it not be that the son and the daughter need to have the same for the a mother being in their lives.
A daughter needs her mother.
Right.
That's what's wrong there. A daughter needs her mother. I can't teach her how to be feminine.
Mm. But
She's
are you
supposed to
think a
be
daughter
here to
doesn't need
be
a father
feminine.
either, or
Huh?
do you think a daughter doesn't need a father either, or
Definitely needs a father because her
right?
father is supposed to be the first type of demonstration she sees as a man. She should
Got it.
want her man to resemble her father. That's all goes back to why we have to stay together with the women we had kids by.
Right.
It just make the whole structure and dynamic so difficult to deal with.
Okay. Okay. Let
As
me.
a man, you want your son, you know the bumps and the head butts he's gonna come to
Right.
when it comes to his first love,
Right.
his first police interaction with police being
Mhm.
black. You know all these things, right?
Right.
They things a woman can't teach him. But in
Right.
order to instill, you can tell him these things like my daddy told me.
Right.
He wasn't there enough to be on my ass. You feel me?
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that plays a big fact into what's going on.
Right.
A father, you got to stay on their behind.
And that's one of the things I see with my dad. My dad was always on this. I mean, man, there were times, man, I was sitting in a school, in a white school too, a Catholic high school, and I look over there in that glass and I see my dad looking like this, and I'm like, oh, I'm in here writing, like, oh, I'm studying. And ain't nobody asking. We're on a break, so we can goof off. But my dad would be at a Catholic high school checking in on us, and he would say, yo, if I see too many C's, I'm coming up to the school and checking on you. If I see you got one too many C's, that means you're not paying attention in class. And I'm not, shout out to my dad because I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you folks, and I'm going to be real. My dad and I, like you said, my dad and I right now, we've come to a level of, we've had the same thing, being under my dad, not wanting to listen to my dad. Even last night, he says, you guys still don't listen. But the thing is, I don't listen because I'm my own man. And I want
You
to make
felt
my
like you
wife.
was your own man then. It's
No,
the same. You won't
the
understand.
difference is, and my dad and I have this discussion, and I agree with him, is that the journey into manhood for a man, there's that youthful arrogance and ignorance that you have because you don't understand what it's like to raise a family the same way your father has experience raising a family. You don't know what it's like to be divorced. The same way with you. You told me, hey, do not have kids outside your wife because again it is hell. I'm learning from someone who has that experience. Most men today, we don't want to hear from older generations. We like, oh, forget all of that old stuff, and we trying to teach the younger generations the same thing. So it's like my father says, yeah, you're a man, but you haven't been a man as long as I have. But again, we're not in our sonship, in our mentorship, from learning from men who come before us to say, hey man, here's the game. Even on a street level, there's somebody above you that teaches you a certain level of the game, so you don't go around and get power. I have no knowledge of it, but I'm just seeing what's sensationalized. There's always some mentor to teach you how to be a better something, good or bad. And the problem is that now I see that the biggest flaw is not having someone like him to guide me. And like you said, we are experienced now as fathers, but we don't have the wisdom that our fathers have. We have experience, anecdotal experience, but we haven't been through enough life, our journey into manhood, to be masters of our manhood.
I
We're
agree.
we're we're, we're professionals or we're experts past the novice, but we're not at the sage level, the older man. We're getting there. We're in the entry levels of that sagehood. In 20 years, you're going to be able to talk to yourself now and have a different conversation than you do if you were talking to your 40-year-old self to your 20-year-old self.
I agree.
Yeah. So, I mean, and again, I think that that's one of the things hurting. And I'm going to ask this question. Why is it that black women, and I don't think it's just black women, I think it's starting to become infectious into other cultures. It's not just a black problem anymore. It's that why do women think that I don't need a man? I need a man because I need a man,
That's
and
only that's only in the black culture.
you don't think this is
That,
in white culture either.
no, not when you do not when you do the numbers. Okay.
Hispanic cultures either, with all that show up
No
on TV.
other, no other. We're not talking about TikTok and social media,
Okay.
motherfuckers. No other culture, no other culture feels that way. more than a black woman. It,
Why?
it, it,
Why
it,
is that? Why
it,
is
it,
that? And how
it's
helpful is
that
it to us as a culture? And this is a warning to the other
for
cultures,
one,
not
for
to
one,
stay away from. Well, because again, they could become susceptible to it too. They're doing this in Saudi Arabia. The women want their
it
individual
don't
rights. They don't want
it
men
ain't
to do it.
happen. We're talking numbers. You can't talk just a
Common
couple.
sense.
Yeah, you talk numbers. Only our culture is that way, where they feel like they don't need men, bro. Like, no, white women is getting married and trying to stay married and all that. Like, no, bro, that's our culture. Not
There are
saying
more
that
single
all white
women.
women want
Okay.
to get married.
All right, let me give you a little bit of here. I'm on magnifiedmoney.com. There are more single women than there are single men in nearly all 100 largest U.S. cities. You
Why?
keep talking. I'm going
That
to go in.
that goes to the population, the number of women to men. Women outnumber us anyway from like 9 to 1.
Okay.
So it's not too many men for women to choose from anyway. So
Citizens
they're
are
going to
more likely
they outnumber us.
Citizens are more likely to be married out west. 6 of 10 cities with the smallest shares of single adults in California and Arizona, shout out to California, including Fremont, California, have the fewest single folks. 4 other cities are in the South.
There you have it. There you have it. Right
But
there.
again, what does this do for helping Black culture when women feel that way, that they're going against their men? And again,
They hurt themselves. Women hurt themselves. I mean,
how
it,
so?
like because like I said, women outnumber men. So
Mm,
for you to find a man, it'll be harder for her to find a man than it is for a man to find a woman.
you're saying simply off the numbers game,
It, it it's facts, just
right?
off of numbers. It'll be
Okay,
hard for a woman to find a man before it'll be hard for a man to find a woman. Now, is it the woman that he wants? We don't know that.
right.
You
Of course,
feel
I
me?
mean that's
Is
not.
it really the woman that he wants? Hmm.
And again, and folks, what I think I'm just going to add a little bit of sauce on top of what he's saying is that again is that the because there are a fewer number of men,
It
that
is.
the eligible men, the quality men that women are looking for, that desire a man in their lives, that is even a statistically smaller number. So the leftovers, or what's left after the men like myself, and I'm going to go into a small thing. I went to the doctor today, and women are there, and you're married, and you can see them kind of fishing to see where I'm at on things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm married, I have young kids and things like that. And they're like, oh, your wife's a lucky woman. And it's like, I kind of asked them, like, oh, it's the long list of bad relationships that
And you know
never led
why?
to
And you
an
know why they
outcome.
saying that?
Mm,
They was older women now. They wouldn't have said that back in their 20s.
oh, yeah, okay,
They're
yeah,
old. They're older women now. Now the goddamn pond in your 20s, the pond was full of men fishing. It seemed like everybody look. They outnumber us, bro. They ain't got no choice but to think like that. But it's only our culture that I feel like that think that they don't need a man. But a lot of real women in our culture, they know that like we need each other. That's what we here for, to balance each other out.
mm,
We ain't here to be alone. So you know what I mean? So that way of thinking, you can have that way of thinking. Everybody's entitled to their own personal thoughts.
okay. And I'm going to pull up. Okay, so I've got some statistics here. Let me share this with you,
I'm listening.
because this is going to talk about the white non-Hispanics single mother rate in the United States. This is from 1990 to 1921. As you can see down here, in 2009 was 7,294, and in 2020, this before the pandemic, there was a 6,976, and that's ticking back up. Uh,
Seven
that,
thousand. That's it
hold on, let me
in the
just
whole United
no,
States.
no, 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 no. This is in this is in the thousands. I'm going to look and see how they do their data. There in 2021, there were about 7.01 million white non-Hispanic families with single mothers living in the United States. So that's saying 7 million. That's a slight increase from 1990. That was what is that? 31 years later, where it was 6.4 white families with a single mother living
Look
in the
at the
U.S.
black.
I'll go to that next.
I seen the graph chart at the bottom.
I'm sorry.
They had a graph chart at the bottom for blacks.
Let me
Look
go
at that
down.
graph chart all the way at the bottom.
See, look at that. I got a college education and poof.
Right
Number
here.
of black single mother. There you go. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Demographic.
it. Appreciate it. And we're going to talk about this right here. Number of black single families with a single mother from 1990, the same year. So we are at 4.267 million, I believe.
Sure.
But again, it's not talking to. So I mean, this actually does kind of prove my statement that there are more white single mothers. Ooh, I got you. Ooh, I got you right now. In 2021, there were about 4.27 million black families in the United States with single mothers. That's an increase from. I think the increase is a little bit larger. The increase from
No,
1990.
go back to whites.
Oh gosh, you're killing me here. Hold on.
4.27 million.
All right, let me
In
just
2021. So go back to whites.
hold on. I'm gonna try to pull
I
up
don't
both.
believe that.
Why wouldn't you believe it? So now the
Hell
stats go
no.
live. They're not in your
I
favor.
live it. I live it. I see it. Now go
I
back.
get it, but you got to remember, there's a whole thing called Middle America where the blacks are mostly on the outskirts of the city.
Go
Or
back. Oh,
okay,
is that for the whole United States?
yeah, it says you. The first thing I read. Let me go back
Yeah,
again.
go back.
No, here. This is talking about. It says right here. I'm right down here. The 2021.
4.27.
4.27 in the United States with a single mother.
Now I want to see the white comparison to that.
I'm going right back to it, cuz hold on, because again, we're getting told misconceptions here.
Go back.
Oh gosh, hold on. I'm gonna keep the black tab up and I'll go back to the whites. Here we go. Here's the whites ones here. Because again, I mean, we're being told. So here we go. In 2021, I have two tabs open now. So I'm gonna in 2021, there are 7.01 million white non-Hispanic families with single mother living in the United States. They have more. They have almost double. But you're telling me now, don't go. You cannot believe the stats. Now, I've just proven to you now, even in 2021, there are more single white families. And you said that's what you live in. But again, here we go. Listen, folks, right now on this channel, you have probably never heard this on any other podcast. I just proved right now that what we are being told, what he has been believing is a predominantly black problem. Realistically, we have in black households, we are almost half the single family rate, motherhood rate than whites are, but we're being told we're at the most. And I just proved it here. Can you, again, I know you don't like the stats, but can you at least admit to the stats?
I see the stats. Yeah.
Okay, here, let me just, everybody coming in. But folks, you need to like, share,
and let me clarify something when I look at this though, real talk. When I look at this, when we talk about single mothers and black fathers, we different when it comes to raising kids outside of the house.
Okay, now again, let me just get a moment to talk to the channel here, folks. This is I have never ever heard anywhere on this, and I'm going to tell everybody watch this on a broadcast, replay, anything. Are you going to come back? Yeah, I'm going to take you over real quick right now. We have just looked at the stats. Okay, this is Statista.com. This is the number of white families with single mother living in United households. We hear all day about black families, black single motherhood rate, black deletion of babies, all of this stuff. Here we're looking at real stats. No one, and I'm gonna say, if someone has, please let me know who has ever brought this stat up. And again, this is something that my cousin CJ, he believed in his mind that there were more, and I didn't even know this myself. I just happened to look this up, that there are almost twice as many single white mothers living in the United States than there are black mothers. But we are being told
they are about twice as many white people among us anyway, though, right?
Okay, I mean, yeah, okay.
But we can go back that number.
Okay, so I'm going to show everybody this statistics again, because again, all the pro-blacks out there, all the
you got to say, you got to go back to how many white people are in the United States and how many black people are in the United States as well. If we're talking numbers.
Okay, yeah, and
that matters, right?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you real talk. Yeah, it is. But again, what I'm talking about is
now you got to go see how many white people, how many white females are in America, and how many black females are in America. That got to be your next Google
Okay,
stat.
that is going to take us into a different area. Let me touch on this because
How? No, 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 Phil. You can't get away from that.
no, I'm not. I'm
Because
not. I'm not.
if
I
we're
want to build
talking
on.
numbers,
No, I know. I know.
right?
I'm not escaping
Okay,
what you're
you
saying.
can't
No,
get away
I'm
from
gonna
that.
I'm
You
gonna
got
touch
to
on that
figure
because
out how
obviously.
many white females are in America, first of all, versus how many black females are in America.
No, I get it.
That's
I
how
get it.
you're going to get the real number. Because I can guarantee you that white female is way more white females in America, and it'll make that number not accurate anymore.
Okay. All right. So
You
yeah.
understand what I'm saying?
No, no. Again, I'm not here to disagree with you.
Yeah.
We're having disagreement until
Now,
stats come
now
up.
this
And
is how
again,
you prove me wrong because when you're doing numbers, you have to do numbers. So
no, no.
first of all, you have to let me know how many white women are in the United States,
Okay. No, what I'm saying.
non-Hispanic women.
No, because what I'm saying this is that yes, you are right, and again, we're kind of moving the needle a little bit. What I'm just saying is that,
We're
and
not,
and
we're not, we're
no,
not
no, no.
moving the
What I'm saying,
needle.
hear me out here is that we're talking about that we hear what we are told, what we believe in our mind. I'm not
It's
saying that.
true
Well, let
because
we
you
hold
got
on.
to do the numbers.
Okay, but hold on. Can you wait until we get to that part to figure that out? You just jumping
But
ahead. And you
no, it's true, and you know it's true.
No, yeah, of course,
It's
whites are a greater part of the conversation. That's why we're minorities. I get that.
thank you. So
But again,
therefore, the fact still stands that there's more single black mothers in the United States than white mothers.
okay, well, what I'm saying about that is that there is a perceptions that the what I always say, that they always say that, whenever you come to black people, they always feel that the a white person's ice is colder. And that's what I'm
It
saying.
is.
That's not
It is.
okay. All right, folks.
They're fact. It
I,
is.
I'm not. I don't think that is the case. I'm just saying is that this shows that there is a. They
Basically,
have
what you're saying is there's no such thing as white privilege.
no. That's not what I'm saying. Let's
Okay.
not throw. Let's
Okay.
not
I
throw it
just
down
want to
there.
be clear on that.
All I'm talking about is that I'm just looked at stats. I'm saying that in this
You didn't
stat
look
here,
at all the stats, though, Phil.
I am. I'm just talking about what we got to take it in stages. You can't. You
You
can't just
can't
rush to the.
take that in stages, Phil,
No,
without saying how many white women it is, first of all.
because we got when you're doing a show, you gotta make sure people jumping in understand what we're
I
talking about
got
each
you.
time. Some people are coming in right now, or 20 minutes ago, they ain't been with us for the whole hour. Some people
And
are
you
riding
got them,
through.
and you got them thinking that white women is more white single women out there than black women, and that's not true.
Of
That's what
course,
I'm getting
okay.
at.
I'm okay. Let me clarify that in a way that you could back down. You got a dog in the back. Everybody's excited over there, of course.
Where the dog
So
at?
the
He,
the
he
the
gone.
stats say in 2021, because again, what I'm talking about is again that we believe that the numbers are not more just on the numbers alone, not per population. But when you look at this, what I'm saying is that this says that there is an increase despite the how many single white mothers are out there versus all single white people in here. Because again, now you're going to get into another dicey area where you start talking about people who are what is white in America.
No,
Because
no, no, no. White people define what is white in America. It says it right there.
no, I get it, but
7.01 million white non-Hispanic families with a single mother in the United States. What
yeah,
I'm
I get
trying
it,
to
but
get you to
here's the thing is
understand
that you
is
don't know is that people traveling over that are immigrants, if you are from Egypt, which is in Africa, you are allowed to claim that you are white, not African or black. So there's a little bit of how statistics are, that's a little political, but I'm just saying, and I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that for
let me
the
ask you this.
yeah.
Is it more single black women in the United States than white women?
Let me look up the number of
That's what I'm asking you right now. Is
I
it
don't know.
more
I don't try to speak on
is more
statistics that I
single
don't know.
black women in the United States than white women?
Again, I'm going to look up stats. I don't talk when we're talking stats here. We got to go to stats. We can't. I
That's
don't
right.
just come from my.
That's right. That's what I'm telling you.
Yeah. No. 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 Okay. Okay. So I'm going to try to get. I don't. That's women in state. So, folks, you want to take it over and tell the folks what we're talking about, cuz where we've been going at here. I don't mind if you grab the
Oh,
wheel a little
yeah.
bit, talk to the audience.
I, as everybody probably personally know, that is more single black mothers in the United States than it is white mothers.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to share the screen, so I don't ever want to be said that I'm not being. Yeah, and you're obviously you know you had me on this part. Yeah, here's this is 15 to 44. That's what they go by race. It's the one I pulled up real
That's
quickly.
how you got. That's how you got to do it right there, cuz.
All right, no, I get it. There's 72% of white population women, and there are 15.1% of that are considered black.
Thank
Hispanics are not in here for some reason, which is they're large. They're actually a larger population right now than blacks on a whole, but I don't know why that is not included in here. So,
because you know what they got them as.
mm, uh, what as 7.4 Asian or Pacific Islander?
No, they got them as black, probably.
Well, I don't know, man. You know, you got the people of color thing and the melanin, and now Asians can be people of color. You know, I don't know
Hey
where.
man, you see that white number up there. They it just proves it back to what I said.
Well,
That
it's
black
2020.
mothers are more is more single black mothers out there than white mothers, cuz that's just hands down a pure fact.
I got it, but does this okay? Now I'm going to say that. So, what is that? If there's some 70 some percent of the 72.9% of the population, but again, that's not a small number, and it's an increase. What I said before all of this, where we went down the kind of rabbit hole, is that what's happening in black communities with single motherhood, it is still happening in white neighborhood and white other cultures. I don't think it's just
Facts.
it,
But it's happening more in our culture. That's
of
what the
course.
discussion was about.
Right. No, it is.
Black
But I'm just saying
dads
that
not being in the household.
no, I know, but I'm just saying that that is starting to leak out into the other parts of United States society because, again, I mean, you see all these
Not
congresswomen
as
up there.
fast as it does the black community.
Yeah.
That's
Have you
all
seen?
we're saying.
No, yeah, you're
And
right.
you
Okay.
and you
So,
keep trying to say
yeah.
why we're in the back of the wagon.
Right. So what I was saying is that it's a warning to other cultures as I believe is that what you're seeing is the experiment on how once I said this in my mind, once you perfect something with the black culture, good or bad, you can now have a good experiment to go out and try with other cultures and have a good way to destroy other cultures. Because if you're saying that a black father not being in the home is relating to specific outcomes for that child, then you can start influencing other cultures the same way to destroy them when you need it.
They've been doing that, bro. What
No,
do
I
you
know,
mean?
but I'm just
That's
saying
what
is
they're
that
doing. That's what they're doing in Afghanistan and everywhere else they go
right.
in the world. They do this worldwide.
Okay, so men on a whole, our audience need to be aware of the fact that destroying fathers, and again, this is for all the other races of women who still want fathers in the home, still want a father, even if you're not together, to be present or active in your son's lives, or still value fatherhood, as it is. This is a warning to how this can be practiced or done on you and be done everywhere. This is how you essentially destroy a culture from within. And I want to go into so what experiences or what things do you think directly you could see within your own children are affected by you not being the 80%, like you said, with your dad being home, if that could have been better, being around, having that access and control
I
to your
I,
children.
I still think it's gonna be the pops and the community, the environment.
Okay.
I still you still got to blame it a lot on what you see when you go outside.
Right.
So if you go walk outside and see your neighbor got a basketball goal in front of the yard, you probably ain't going too far as a young kid. You feel me?
Yeah.
You got a football field behind the house. Your people's got land behind the house, and it's a bunch of kids. Where y'all playing football at? Behind the house.
Right.
It-
Right.
it's all on the environment, bro. Like and fathers in the house. You got to stay on these little boys behind.
Got it.
You
And when
feel
you say
me?
that, what do you mean in the sense of, is it always being strict and tough on your sons? Like, what is in your opinion, the relationship that fathers need to encompass
It
to
depends
be?
on the environment.
Oh, okay.
Once again, If I'm raising my son in the hood, then I got to raise him a totally different way than I would raise him growing up in the suburbs, bro.
Well, how do you raise a son in the hood to be successful and not be in the hood and be destructive
First
in
of
the hood?
all, the first lesson in raising your son in the hood is what? If you're in the hood, protecting yourself. See,
Mm,
the teachers is different
I hear you.
from day one. The teachers is different.
Right,
If I'm raising my son in the hood, the first lesson of the day is protect yourself.
right.
Keep your eyes open.
Now, why don't fathers, if they have to, if they are raising a son, because I imagine there are dads out there that's like, man, hey, I live in there. Why not move into a better affluent
Everybody,
area? Why do
that's what
people
we
just
talking.
stay in
That's
black just to be comfortable staying with blacks?
that's what it boils down to: situation and circumstance. Phil,
Mhm.
everybody's life ain't planned out and perfect, bro.
I
Even
get
though
that.
it should be,
Okay.
right? Even though it should be, we should teach our sons to sit down and try to plan your life out.
Okay.
That's not where we at with it. One of the reasons that's not where we at with it because we're too worried about what we got to deal with when we get out the door.
Right.
Everybody can't be financially successful and stable. That's
Right.
just the way that the world is set up at its current state.
So how do men and women navigate that then? I mean,
Everybody can't be there.
right.
That's just the way it's set up, brother.
Right.
It's low income housing for a reason. Everybody can't be. It ain't even enough jobs for everybody to be there. It's not. It's not. Think about this. If we pulled up in Jersey right now,
Mhm.
went to the projects to get every adult in their corporate position, is there enough corporate positions in Jersey to feed these people? No. It's we have some people just in the situation that they're in.
Right.
Based on the way that the system is set up, bro, it's way deeper than just what the eye can see. Like, why wouldn't you move? How can I move? If that you don't think everybody want to move,
I do. I do.
and the reason you're stuck in these low income houses is because what they don't move the father out the house.
Right.
In order for you to stay here, a man can't even be here.
Now, folks, listen, I don't know anything about that, so I'm also getting an education on
Yeah,
that from the
that's part
experience.
of it. A man can't even be here for you to stay here.
But I mean, what does that accomplish? Why can't you have, so you're telling me that it's set up in a way to make sure that it is a single parent household, mainly. But okay, so then why are women going for that? Why are they okay? This is the problem I got. Why is it we got a problem with the black daddy
It's a
where we just
it's a generational thing. Is
okay,
where it's the environment. How do I know? How do I know that it never rains in Southern California if I've never been there?
right, which it does actually, folks. That's
It
misleading.
does, right? But it
You
man,
lied to us,
listen,
Tony,
man.
Tony, Tony. You lied.
Bottom line, fatherhood comes down to the father and the environment, bro, and which you raising this son in.
Let me
Some
ask you a
people,
question that most men are probably afraid to answer truthfully, and please be as truthful as you can. Do you feel on a majority that fathers, black fathers in particular, are failing their children, their sons, especially, and
of
raising
course,
them in the way that you're talking about?
I feel mine. Of
Uh,
course.
how
Why?
did you how did
Why
you feel that you feel?
be separated from that? You can A man cannot run two households, man. You just had this conversation.
Yeah.
You can't run two
You want to
households.
say that again a little bit louder so they can
You
hear you.
cannot run two households.
Gotcha.
A man cannot run two households. It's as simple as that. It's
Wow.
as simple as that. That goes back to the son needs you at least 80% of the time, just like our daughter needs her mom.
Right.
I can show her the example of a man.
Right.
You feel me? And
Hold
that's
on, but
why
don't you
staying
think
together is so important.
right? But do you think that sons need their mothers too in a certain way? And
Of,
I don't want to say it's as much as in the same way because there's obviously when they're super young they
of
need her a lot
course,
more.
of course,
Okay,
that's the emotional side of a man.
Right.
But
I, I
are you supposed to have too much emotion, more emotion than your woman?
I don't. I mean, if you're talking
Do
about like
you
at a
supposed
football
to have
game,
more emotion than your woman?
in a Super Bowl, yeah. If I'm watching a Super Bowl game, yeah, I am gonna have more.
Do you supposed to have more emotion than your
Okay, all right.
woman?
Listen. I'm gonna answer that question, but I'm gonna answer, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate. Why can't a man have more emotion than a woman?
Because you're not supposed to, brother. It's
Well,
just
why? Who says you can't oppose?
I
And
didn't
again,
say
listeners,
I
I'm
didn't say you
asking
didn't
because
have.
it's going to be asked by all the male mangina, whoever out there that's going to ask those questions.
Here
And
you go,
I don't want to. I don't want to. I don't want to talk about our audience that way because
red boy.
people who watch the show, we respect people from every different background, no matter what it is. I don't think people need to be qualified in order to
Hey,
to.
don't forget this is just a phone conversation for
Yeah,
me.
no,
This
no,
is
no,
how
no,
we
no.
laugh
Again,
and joke anyway.
yeah, people are watching two family members have this conversation. I grew up north and my cousin grew up south, and it just goes to show you like this is an education, and so I hope it's somewhat entertaining and informative, but this is a conversation that people have that this is a dialogue people need to have and need to see being had. Because again, I think that there's so much separate that, my cousin and I will see each other and we're family, man. We have this conversation, but again, there has to be an understanding and mutual respect too, as well. When you're talking about these differences from environment, you can see it's kind of seeing each other's point. There needs to be more understanding about what's going on, and he's made some good points that, yeah, there are certain things there. My whole thing is that what solutions do we have? And he's acknowledging some of his own, when I say failings, he's acknowledging some things that he failed on. You know what I mean? He's acknowledging on mistakes that he's made in the past. And for all you younger guys out there thinking that you're so cool, you're gonna thug it out, you're gonna have more baby mamas, he's telling you right now. When we say protect your seed, shout out to Coach Eric Adams who says that. That's where I've heard it at. Protect your seed. He's saying that a man can't run two households. You need to choose the woman that you're going to raise your children with. I talked with Alex Coombs yesterday, and we talked about being prepared for marriage. Both men and women need this. Being prepared for fatherhood. And you need mentors, people who have been there. You should be talking with numerous married people to sit down with you and your partner, the person that you want to have children with. I don't care if you want to have children with the same sex. You still need to have that conversation because you're going to experience the same problems, the same arguments that your parents and other people before you have gone through. You need to do your research on what marriage and relationships are because again, how long have you been married to your wife?
11 years.
My wife and I've been married 8 years, man. Marriage is not and again, maybe you could chime in on this part. Marriage is not it's not a Disney movie. It's a lot of, you got to get through stuff. Marriage is great up front. You have all the loving that you want. You do everything that that you've ever wanted, and you release everywhere that you can. You get as nasty as you want to, and then things start to change. And again, if you don't know that that's part of the process, you're going to want to exit out at this point because you're in a different growth stage. It's like a caterpillar turning a butterfly. The demands of the caterpillar when it first comes out and then it becomes a caterpillar, it goes through changes. That's what marriage is. That's what life is. And we're not being prepared for that thing. So again, and people think marriage is supposed to be this, it's supposed to be that. 11 years, I'm sure marriage has been tough for you, no?
Yeah,
Or
it
educate
got
our
its
audience. That's
challenges.
what I'm asking.
It got its challenges. It got
Right.
its
And I wanted to ask is that, what is when you have to deal, sometimes I think people think that, when you're in a rich relationship, you're choosing somebody and it's because their skin color makes them better. And I'm like, but man, they still are a woman at the end of the day. You're still dealing with a woman. They still have the same biological basic things that go on with them. It's when I'm saying that they have the same things. I'm talking about a biological human point as a separate species being woman. They identify and relate to themselves on so many levels. That's not different. Their practices are different. Their perceptions are different, like you said. And people think that just a simple skin color automatically means that you don't have to deal with stuff because they have a different race.
They
And
don't. That's true.
how is it true?
That's true.
You're saying
Uh,
that
yeah,
are you saying it's true what I'm saying, or you're saying it's true what other people believe?
it's true that other races don't deal with what we deal with, cause you just can't get around that. You can't get around that. So
So,
now,
in the fact of a man coming home late, you don't think that a woman's going to complain about it, or a woman's not going to complain about a man doing his fair share around the house, but she's got to watch the kids. You feel that there are white husbands out there that don't come home to a woman telling them that she's not happy.
not at the same rate as black men. That's what we're talking about here. Not at the same rate. No,
Okay.
no,
You're
no.
okay. What I'm saying is that when you say the same rate, I think what it does is it diminishes the fact that there are men who are going through it that can't relate. You're saying rate. I'm saying being it that things are relatable.
That's like saying it ain't not one black person in the ghetto.
There are white people in the ghettos all the time.
Exactly,
Alex
but
knows some.
not at the same rate as black people. See, you want to get around the numbers.
Well,
Yes, it
again,
happens in every culture. Every culture has somebody that's gay,
right.
right?
Yeah.
And you want to take and use that. That's what me and you, when we be talking on the phone, I be like, nah, cuz I can't let you get away with that.
No, I'm not
Because
saying that. I'm
and
not.
and
Again,
I think because you have biracial children,
mhm.
you want the world to be a certain way. It's just not that case, cuz.
I'm not
At
saying
the
I
end
want.
of the day, it's not that case.
Okay.
No, yes, white people go through the same thing as black people. I agree. Not at the same rate.
Okay.
The
Again,
numbers aren't even the same. They
no,
outnumber us, and we go through more than what they go through at a different rate.
no, no.
So
Okay.
it
Again,
matters.
right now, what I'm saying is that again is that I'm not. You're saying rate. I'm talking relation relating. Is that
You
no?
got to relate. You got to
Right.
relate to the rate.
Okay. So no. Again, what you're saying, and again, I appreciate where you're coming from because you're not you don't want me to move the needle off to the fact that
Thank you.
the numbers the actual how much of an impact is super heavy on black side. What I'm saying is that yes, you are so right, but what I think is important also is to not separate yourself so much that you don't understand that other people, other cultures are going through that too. There's an overwhelming buy-in that we are the worst and we're the worst in the suffering, we're the worst in this. And when we
We
look at
are.
okay,
You
I'm
can't
not
get
saying
away from that.
okay, I'm not this is
You're
the
trying to
and
say it's this perception that we are the worst in the we are.
no,
Cuz
I'm
we
not. I'm
are.
not saying what I'm saying is that while that may be true, we can't forget about the fact that others are going through it, maybe at not the same rate. But again, there are people that can relate to what we're going through. If you take okay, if you go in there and you take a group of men who are single fathers that have to deal with the same pain that you've gone through, you can't sit there and say because that man's skin color is something different, he doesn't know what it feels like to miss his children on Father's Day. That's a crime for you to say that that's happening. That
Absolutely
you're going
not.
to stand on rate on that one.
Absolutely, that's not what I'm saying.
That's what I'm
But
talking
what
about.
I'm
That's my
saying is,
point I'm trying to make is that there are too many of us saying that just because we have the higher rate, we should always take the lead and we should always be first place. And I'm saying that again, it's a round table of
we
you
know
should still
we never first place
well
in
again, no,
society.
I'm saying this that we don't
We're
seem to
first
think
place
that
in crime in society. We're
okay, and
first place in breaking up households in society.
oh
We're
no, and I
first in
get it, but
that.
what I'm saying is that we can't let that the rate cause us to separate and not relate to other cultures. The biggest thing that
We can't relate to another culture,
yes
Phil.
you
That's
can.
how no, we can't.
There's a white guy and there's an
Other
Indian
cultures
guy.
relate to us because our rate is so much higher than theirs.
Right.
Now I can take this and relate to them in this
So
way.
okay, all right,
You
good.
can't
And let me
relate
get you.
to no other culture.
Let me pin you down on this one then. Then, as the leaders in rate, do we not have a responsibility to make sure that we are interacting and relating with other cultures? I'm sorry, we're teaching or being teaching people how to avoid what we have because we have the higher rate. We are in the leadership role. Where are we mentoring? Why are we separating and saying that, hey, we can't have a whole world like this? Because again, there are tons of black men that are going out into other parts of the world and they're going to have children with other cultures. And again, if it keeps on spreading outward, like you said, they're doing in other countries, then again, it doesn't matter where you go, we will end up, everyone will be in the same boat. And again, what black men are saying is that we have the higher rate, y'all go figure it out. We can't help you. And if the cultures are doing that to us, then we all sink. Because again, we won't say they can relate to us, but we can't relate to them because we got the higher rate. It's a closed-minded argument
Yeah,
where other
yeah.
men are suffering to the same thing. And here's the other part: is that men on a whole are being pushed down as parts of society, even in the world. That to the point where
What
Father's
world?
Day is now shared by women. No man can share Mother's Day and say, I'm the mom and the dad. But a mom can say, I'm the mom and the dad on Father's Day. So that's happening all over.
And
At what
what
point do
culture?
we start dropping?
And what culture? Only in the black culture. Majority in the black. When I say only in the black culture, I'm saying majority.
Okay. I,
Okay. So
I'll
yeah,
let
you
you,
got a
I'll let you
couple
be
of
the
white
authority on
women
black
that's
culture. I
claiming
can't.
to be dads,
No,
but
I hear you. I'll let you be the
that's
authority on
only in
black
the black
culture.
culture, bro.
I'm I'm
That's
I'm
happening.
talking about men in general because again, now if you want to break it out to okay, well, I'm black, you're white, you're Asian, you're this, and this, but still we're all men and we're
Mhm.
all as a whole being pushed down. So again,
And
when
we can relate and have conversations about certain things.
right, but again, when do we stop putting up dividers and start putting them down and saying, hey man, you know what? All these Asian guys, white guys in here, we need to stand up and come together, forget about how who's got the rate and moat, because
I
guess
could
what?
I could
Once I
tell you
fall,
when.
once
I
you
could
take
tell you when.
okay, once you take black men off the board, the next group that is in second place now becomes first. Then they can take the same attitude that you have, and then once they're taken off the board, the next group with the next rate comes next.
You
So if you keep on doing that, you have nothing in the end of it. True or not true? I know you don't want to believe that, but again, is that not a problem if we're starting and ending it on us? Are we not being, like you said, is that attitude somewhat contributory to the fact of once you get off, take all the black people off the place of the planet, the next group with the next highest rate, now they're in black's place as being the highest rate. So if you want to settle in on rate, then the next group will have it. And once they take over and become us and all the complaining and excuses, and it's everyone else's fault,
and
then
you
they get off of here and then the next one comes in. You just keep
oh,
on chipping
but
away.
yeah, okay, and that's the way they want it. Who is they? The powers that be. Who runs the world? Like you can't miss all of this stuff when you were talking about the whole world and that aspect of the world. All
Right.
right, you erase all the black people off the face of the planet, right? Let's say
Mm-hmm.
that if they could do it, they would do it.
Fair
It's
snap.
done.
Right.
Them same laws that apply to black people will now apply to the next group of people you're talking about. Let it be Mexicans, okay?
Right.
Like the discrimination that Mexicans face in this country now
Right.
is, kind of fucked up. But if it wasn't them, it'd be us. You feel what I'm saying? So with that, you have to replace the jails. Now that the black people ain't in the jails, who will be in the jails? The Mexicans. And they have the same economic struggles and fatherhood struggles that we have, because most of their men now will be incarcerated. And
Okay.
their families' homes will be broken.
Okay, but
So
I'm
you
just
got to
saying
take
is that, but
all the numbers into consideration when you're talking about changing the
no, I
demographic.
get you. You're right. Okay, now we're moving on to the solution of the issue. Is that okay again? But you had
The only
kings.
solution of the issue is white people got to change, Phil. They running the world. The laws got to change, bro.
Okay, and you're telling me that even if they did that, we stand on snap, all white people change, everything else. You're telling me blacks are going to put away the complaining, blacks are going to be better, blacks are going to start doing
Absolutely.
more.
Absolutely. That's what
You
I'm telling
really
you.
think that with that attitude, the
Absolutely.
way things
Absolutely.
are now?
Absolutely. That's what I'm telling you. Because a lot of them fathers, we overcrowd the penitentiaries. You can do the numbers on that. We
Mhm.
all know that. Blacks is over. We not even the majority in this country, but we the majority and filling up the penitentiary system. So you have to take those numbers out and put them back in the household. Bro, that's a structured household now. You feel what I'm saying? That's not a broken home anymore. You damn right that should have changed. You damn right that should have changed. Don't burn down our Black Wall Street. Yeah, it's changing.
But okay,
Yeah, you
and what
ask,
I
yes.
see on the
But
TV
with
in
that
Philly
change,
is
had to got
blacks
change
burning down
everything.
Philadelphia. I see blacks burning down their own homes, own areas. Anytime
Their
something
own
happens,
home.
blacks are
Where have you seen a black person burn down a home that they got the deed to? Come on, man. These are homes owned by white people. So when we talking about burning down their own neighborhood, they don't own nothing in that neighborhood, Phil. So
which
we're
is
not
why
talking about.
Right, which is why ancestry lands exist to bring ownership to people so you can start to build your
And that's
ownership
a big fact.
for no, we're not doing any, we're doing $1,000 downs, $250 a month to build ownership. So, I mean, maybe the biggest point that you made in here is the process of having ownership here. Is to build up and start having ownership. But again, there's a mindset behind not having ownership.
And so
And
you keep acting like it's really not a system in place to hold us back. The
What?
mass
Well,
incarcerators.
no, I'm sorry. My wife and I own 40 acres of property, just one property.
Mhm.
Everybody's talking about getting 40 acres in a mule. I didn't go out and ask Joe Biden and all the other politicians for it. I went out and learned how to own land, and I worked overtime as a nurse, and I went out there and bought property. When
Mhm.
I went to Melanin Markets, talked to a whole bunch of black people, everybody's up there, hippity hoppity hoppity, yeah, 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 laying Black Wall Street, but no one's building it. No one's buying it. When I say no one's buying a property, I'm selling Hispanics and I'm telling people, look, buy it before they do so you can own it and sell to them. People don't want to do it. You know what I'm telling me? California's too far, but they'll clap for Rick Ross owning hundreds of acres in a place he don't live. They'll clap for Jay Prince, salute to them, for owning land in
Oh,
Texas
the
and raising
culture.
cattle beef.
See, now you're going to the culture being misguided.
Oh, come
Culture is definitely misguided.
misguided.
It's definitely misguided, Phil. We not
But
that's,
who's the
we not
leaders
gonna
of the
dispute that.
cultures?
Gotta
Who's the leaders
remember
of the
what we
culture?
gotta remember what we're talking about here. The
Mhm.
majority of black people are not growing up in what do you want me to say? It goes back to environment, bro. Environment creates mindset. You can't get around that. Your
Mhm.
environment was different. That's why you were able to get your 40 acres. That's one of the reasons why I'm not gonna say
Yeah.
everybody is stuck to, you know, where they living at, but
Mhm.
it got a lot to do with mindset. Jay-Z took that same mindset and worked his way from out the hood. His mindset was very different.
Mhm.
It's all about mindset to me, Phil, and environment, because the
Yeah.
environment it affects the mindset. I
Yeah.
have to, for me at least, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got a hell of a daddy, man. Daddy always in my ear.
Right.
But I was seeing more in
Yeah.
the environment and doing more.
Yeah.
You feel me?
No,
It
no.
wasn't my dad that came through in the flashy car that'll turn you out.
Right.
It's always somebody in the neighborhood.
Right. No, I hear you. I
So
hear
it
you.
has a lot to do, bro, with the environment. And
Right.
I'm standing on that, bro. You and a missing father. And I'm not meaning missing like my daddy, man. My daddy, he couldn't stay with me.
Right. 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 Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
That's big. You
Yeah.
feel me? So yeah, man, environment, it all goes back to environment, Phil. Your environment is different than a lot of black people in America.
Hmm.
You grew up in the 15%.
Right.
85% of the other black people didn't see or experience the
Yeah.
environment you got to grow up in. That's all I'm saying.
And again,
It
but my
starts there.
what did I do with that experience? I came back and I said, "Hey, I've learned this, I've gotten that, and I'm here to provide that to our people." And what did they do? I'm not black enough and I'm not white enough, and that meant that I didn't have the cultural presentation for them to buy in because again, Jay-Z could look like Basquiat and he could have a mauve suit and people will listen to that and take advice from him, but I'm down in the trenches and I'm coming back to people saying, I have ownership that you can actually have. Jay-Z's making opportunities for a whole lot of people, but I don't know who they are. And if they are, they're billionaires that are blacks too in that network. But again, for the common people, how can we ever get ahead if we don't wake up? And we're always telling people you need to come through the
The
door before
government
you get
has
a
to
presentation
change.
of the culture.
Why you can't understand that the government has to change?
When I
Why
listen, when I
you
come
can't?
through,
Because my view has to be different, Phil.
okay. So until then, we as a people constantly lose out because we're
Thank you.
waiting on
Yes,
other people
yes,
to change before we
yes,
do.
yes. And you know,
Okay.
we were talking on the phone. This would be my definitely yes,
At least you could say that.
yes,
Okay. Yeah.
yes. Because what I see every day affects what I decide that I'm going to do tomorrow.
Right.
The stuff I see today decides the decisions I'm going to make for tomorrow.
Got it. Yeah.
Yes,
I get it. Okay.
yes.
Listen,
The
I hear you.
system has to change. You have to change my view. I can't go outside and never seen a tree till I get down to Virginia. Because y'all got rocks and dirt and lead paint running around here.
I
You
hear you,
feel
man.
me? So yes, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, bro. The government, this you don't want to really say what it is, bro. But yes, the system has to change, bro. The view
I
has to change for the American mindset, the Black American mindset to change, bro. It's too many Black people in ghettos around the world,
mhm.
Black, and you wonder why. Put the white people in the ghettos and let them see what Black people see. Then tell me it ain't no difference. All right, let their men populate the prison systems, bro, and tell me it's not a difference there.
Okay.
That's what you failing to realize. We were not blaming nobody, but bro, it's a difference, bro.
Mhm.
It has to change from the top, and that's never gonna change, bro. Why would I give up? Why would I give up this? Tell me why, if you was in their position, why would I give up this the way the world is ran when it benefits me the most? They wouldn't. They
So,
couldn't.
all right, I'm going to ask this last question and we'll finish up. So then what are the supposed black leaders doing if we still are in this way? The people at the top that's saying that they fight,
What Black leaders? When you speak of Black leaders, who you speaking about?
our black congressmen and women, our rappers, our football, our sports people, the people
Their
that are,
leaders, the rappers,
I mean, again, is the trap music come from, Bass Reeves, who I talked about, or Lewis Latimer, who I talked about earlier?
allowed by who though? White America. Nothing gets played without white America. You can't. Why they not showing these bodies they blowing up over there in Afghanistan where they shooting somebody's head off, right? But you can report the crime over here like it's nothing. So listen, the government, bro, from the top to the bottom, why would they like stop acting like it's not a disadvantage for us
I,
as being black? Because it really is.
I hear you.
That's the message that you like to try to push. Like we're not at a disadvantage. Your view was different, brother.
No, listen, I'm not. Listen,
And
my
you ain't where you want to be. So you feel me?
yeah, I
Why
know.
is
But
that?
what I'm saying is that I could blame, I could, but what I've done is I did some work, and I didn't sit there and say that waiting on someone else to change who I know that if I do agree with you, then they have the deck start in their hands and in their favor. Why would everyone give up a winning hand? Mine was to create my own winning hand and spread that out to other people who could also learn and how to win like I do. That's
And
why
that
we
and that
have ancestry lands for people to
and
own
that
property.
started because of your view, is what I'm trying to get you to understand.
Yeah,
You ain't we have a lot of black kids that I told you
yeah,
if I'm staying in Portsmouth, my view for raising my son is different. The
right,
first thing I'm teaching him is survival, how to protect yourself, how to
right,
hold a house down. Your view different when you
right,
grow up in the suburb. I don't have to teach you this.
right, right,
I got to teach you how to interact with the police, how to interact with other black kids
right.
who feeling like the world taking something from them, who
Mm,
feeling like they trying to get out of here too.
right.
You feel what I'm saying? The,
Yeah,
the, 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 the thought process and the thought process is different, Phil. That's
yeah,
why you keep going back to you or even me for say I didn't have it that fucking bad growing up, bro. Like, let's be real. You feel
right,
me? But my view was different from yours, and my view is different from his.
right, right.
You feel me? And
Yeah,
it's all about the view.
right. That's true.
Some of us grow up with the view the first thing we taught is survival.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So the view
Yep.
is different, bro. That's what it'll have to take. That's what it's gonna have. That's what it's gonna take. It's
Yeah.
going to take the change in view from childhood on up.
No, I get
Things
it.
we
You're
see coming home, the things we encounter.
right.
You feel me? If I'm
Yeah.
getting off the bus in the 90s and on every corner, this is what I see, this is what's going on. This is what it fascinates me. I never
Right.
seen my daddy smoke a cigarette.
Right.
Never seen my daddy smoke no weed. I never even heard my daddy curse.
Yeah. Yeah. He uses very. I wish we got to get him up here so he can talk bull
You
jank.
feel me? So
Yeah.
where did I get these things from, man? And I'm telling
Environment.
you, I had a dad in my life that was in my life as much as he could be.
Right.
You feel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
So what hey, here I am 8 kids later, brother. You feel me? And it's not my daddy's fault.
Right.
You feel me? It
Yeah.
has to change. The view has to change, though, Phil. So you
Yeah.
can't take and say, I did it
Got it.
or CJ did it.
Right.
My view won't that bad, bro.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
feel me? But
I hear you.
I can put myself in his shoes. I got best friends who views was bad, bro.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So the view is different, and I understand that view. I got some friends, they had no father at all. So now I got to try to let them on the shit that my dad done taught me.
Right.
You feel me? Like, bro,
Yeah.
you know, my dad done told me this and this. I ain't understand nothing. My dad was speaking Chinese to me till I turned 30.
Wow.
You feel me? So everything that he tried to tell me, man, is one ear out the other. So now we totally understand. Now I'm on the phone like, what you say? Let me write
Right.
this down. I might not understand it till I'm
Right.
45, 50.
Right.
You
Got
feel me? But and I tell my sons the same thing, bro. My job is you heard it here first.
Gotcha.
You feel me? But yeah, we at a disadvantage, Phil. We can't get around that. The government is to blame, whether you want to believe it or not, because everybody's view is different, and they force that view.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, listen, let's close it out here. Folks,
Thank
Phil
you.
Davis, Ancestry Lands, Ancestrylands.com, folks. I've got my cousin CJ here. Man, we got into a really, really deep discussion, really heated discussion, and I love it, and I love him for it. Thanks for all the people that tuned in on YouTube, Facebook, people on Instagram, wherever you are, you can find us Ancestrylands, Ancestrylands.com. Cousin CJ, appreciate you joining me,
Hey,
man.
man, just remember this. You ain't black enough, and you ain't white enough.
There you
That's
go.
the new slogan, man.
There you go. Hey,
love you, cuz.
Love you too, man. Love you too. Hey,
All
folks,
right,
thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining us today. We hope you are entertained. We hope you are enlightened, informed. Phil Davis, Ancestry Lands, folks. I want you all to hear this because, you know, you might take away your own opinion from this. You might have a difference of opinion. You might agree with me. You might agree with him. And again, we need to have the discussion. We need to continue to have discussion. We need to converse more about these things that are dividing us. And again, I want to find ways that we can relate and understand. And sometimes we're going to have to break down some walls slowly but surely, folks. And I think that you're seeing what I'm trying to do here. Ancestry Lands, Ancestrylands.com is where you can go and find properties. One thing my cousin said that I agree with is that we do need to own. We problem this ownership. And I think I agree from my experience, think that ownership is something that is a lot of people need to own. And it's not just a one culture's problem. I think it's becoming a problem all around. Ancestrylands.com, folks. Like, share, subscribe. I am your humble host, Philip Davis. Thank you for joining me. Stay tuned next week for more Live with Uncle Phil. Ancestry Lands, and we're signing out, folks.
Are you curious about the secrets behind those who have made fortunes through vacant land investments? Look no further. We have the perfect solution just for you. Introducing Getting Dollars from Dirt, a beginner's guide to vacant land investing. This extraordinary book serves as your ultimate resource if you aspire to make a significant impact in the real estate market. Inside, you will uncover time-tested strategies and expert tips that will effortlessly guide you through the realm of vacant land investing, regardless of your experience level. Bid farewell to perplexing terminology and overwhelming information overload. This book has been meticulously crafted to offer practical steps that will kickstart your journey toward financial independence. Discover the art of recognizing the most lucrative vacant land opportunities. Getting dollars from dirt leaves no stone unturned. You will acquire the confidence and knowledge necessary to make shrewd investment decisions. Secure your copy of Getting Dollars from Dirt today and embark on your path to wealth. Click the link in the description below to order your copy now. Don't delay another moment. Begin constructing your fortune today.